Rolling through the sand, in the sky.
Specific plant compounds have the ability to turn off
The scarab spins truth where the cosmos collide.
In the beginning was the way.
Energy whispers, it never says goodbye. The Beatles crawl, the Beatles rise.
Go to AmericanHealer.website now. Get the tools for health and inspiration the way God intended.
Sort of burst the chaos, yet the chaos rise. My name Beatles, 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 over and over, spinning the world in the grip of their shoulders. Beatles, 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 under and over, rolling through time till the blackness is sober. The heat fades lower, the order begins. The stillness so perfect, it hums from within. The void sings softly, entropy takes a bow. In the shadow of silence, the scarab knows how. The second law is dancing, feeding life through decay. The third law holds the promise that the stillness will stay. Time till the blackness is sober.
Go to AmericanHealer.website now. Get the tools for health and inspiration the way God intended.
Was the way was God, the way was God, the way was hard. Every step a symphony, timelines infinity. The way we raise injury, I'm the divine epiphany. In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God.
Discover the power of plant genetics and NRF2. These compounds can transform your health with natural strength.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God.
Redox is the cover story for bioelectricity, and the NRF2 system protects your reduction potential.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God.
Specific plant compounds have the ability to turn off oxidation and activate the antioxidant system.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God.
Photosynthesis and human inspiration form an irreducibly complex relationship evolution can explain.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God.
Go to AmericanHealer.website now. Get the tools for health and inspiration the way God intended. Share the video, hit the like, subscribe, Cash App, Super Chat, AmericanHealer.website, Amazon.
Dark time detox, D-blocks, redox, relapse, detox, 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 bless you, detox, and I have to. Dark time detox, we blocks, redox, we rock, detox, 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 bless you, NRF2, detox, I'm still standing too. These blocks, redox, we rock, detox, 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 bless you, NRF2, detox, we the living proof. I'm still standing when the lights go out. Still breathing when the world counts me out. From the dirt to the crown, yeah, I earned my sound. Turn the pain into power. Hear me now. I was low, I was down, but I figured it out. Every scar tells a story, every tear was a drop. Now I rain on the doubts, flood them all out, yeah. I'm still standing now, what you talking about?
the living proof. Talks in my mind, had to flush that quick. Hard on freeze, had to warm that brick. City so cold, but I roll so slick. Had to break my chains just to make that shit. Dark nights, dark thoughts, had to clean my view. Had to pray, had to grind, had to see it through. Now the air real clear when I breathe that truth. Whole body yelling back, this the brand new you, yeah. You failed the test. Red light. Cold sweat on your chest. You failed a lie detector. Your oil's electric, your magnetic, we wavy. Other platform, follow that norm. Hater boy, 40 years like nature boy. 40 years like nature boy. Don't play with the nature. Young fat electric, mind on the stretcher, I bet you. Think twice if you follow for life. Think twice if you seen that hype. Third eye got them scared of the sight. I'll just say the me the light. Quantum tunneling through night. Your gravity feels so right. Osiris is the king of light. Osiris is the king of light. Quantum tunneling through night. Your gravity feels so right. Osiris is the king of light. Osiris is the king of light. Close range with a hand from afar. One hole in the back of the car. Check code, every digit, every scar. Her scan, ready shadow where you are. Big step with the glips on the belt. Gold dust on the book on the shelf. If you knew what your silently spelled, you would never learn program yourself. On the glitch in the script I revoke. On the truth that they thought they could vote. Try to cable one made out of votes. I just fade through the wall like a ghost. Quantum tunneling through night. Gravity feels so right. Osiris is the king of light. Self-created. I came from nothing. I came from nothing. Flipping energy. I'm really glad you into me. You say to me, on my quest for the world to remember me. I'm here to make history. Living freely. Make me. Read about it, Timothy. Yeah, I came from nothing. That's the discussion. It's not about my feelings, it's about yours. I came from nothing. That's the discussion. Traveling waves, stand together, make a fan together, withstand the weather, click and whatever. I came from nothing. energy flipping. How you gon' move in this direction? Who play with your mind? Who play with your mind? Like being in your feelings every night. It's all about feels, having feelings. Those high voices I feel it. Saying with your chest, the universe exists. Get a bit with ya. Success. Very business. Love brought the universe into existence. Circuits resisting. Spinning persistence. I came from some new things. Lost the discussion. It's not about my feelings, it's about yours. Stand together, make a family together, settle whatever, big bad whatever. I came from nothing. I start this question. It's not about my is it well yours? Discussion. It's not about my feelings, it's discussion. It's not about my feelings, it's about yours.
Relax. It's New Year's. It's officially bedtime again. Well, listen. We got till I don't know how long I'm gonna be on. I might be on a few minutes. I might stay on a few hours. So I was about to say we might have till 3. You know, because it just start New Year, fake New Year. So don't jump on me. Right? It just started the New Year though. In New York, in Philly, in Atlanta, in Detroit. It's not New Year yet in Chicago. It's not New Year yet in what? Memphis and LA and all that. Right? And we gotta, you know what I'm saying? We gotta go with the BIG, right? Wait a minute, not that one yet. We gotta go with the BIG. Right? It's rules to this. I wrote me a manual. Right? It's rules to this thing. I wrote me a manual. Right? Do y'all have this book? Right? If you don't have this book, you know to go to Amazon, add this to your cart, and check out. Right? We have a list of our own holidays and what we're supposed to do on it. Right? We have a list of how we're supposed to celebrate these holidays. And I wonder often, actually, I don't wonder. I know who's doing what because I get text messages from people who are actually in the books. And they, you know, they'll send me a salute on specific days and let me know that they are on the ritual. Whatever that ritual is. Now, I'm trying to find the page for y'all, even though I already know what the ritual is. The ritual right now, this is Osiris's holiday. This is the Wusia Asar Osiris holiday. That is correct. And from December 22nd to January 1st, from December 22nd to January 1st, we are supposed to be in the Codex, page 325 to 327, and then we're supposed to go into the journal from pages 152 to 193, right? So when you have this book tells you exactly what to do in terms of inspiration. It tells you exactly what to do. It lets you know the decking, right? It'll give you the exact decking that we're in. It'll give you the solar alignments, the astronomy, all of those things. But very specifically, it'll give you the ritual. And I don't have my codex. What kind of bum am I right now that I don't have my codex? Right. It's only 11 o'clock over there where you at. That's what I'm saying. It ain't really like fake New Year yet for everybody. It ain't fake New Year for everybody till 3 a.m. Nobody closing the doors and try to talk about your go right to where you belong at. All right, yeah, my bad. I was supposed to put on some music. I had to go find my codex, though. I didn't feel right. I didn't feel right with myself without it. But yeah, we gotta bring in the vibe, right? Yeah, we gotta bring in the vibe, right? Right? You know, we got a lot of people that gotta work in the morning, so you know they you know they in bed already. And then we got Then, you know, we got people that's too intelligent to celebrate holidays. You know, they too conscious. But they should still be on hours, though, like, because, you know, you still got some, those American holidays. I mean, American. I am. Okay. So we go to page 325 in the Codex. 325 in the Codex is the Winnenefer mythos. So if you don't have this, you need this, because I'm not sure how long this is going to be around. This might disappear. This is going to be like eat right for your haplotype when it disappeared too. Everybody going to want one, and it's going to be too late. The connection between cardiac melanocytes and the lymphatic system. This is the Winnenefer mythos. So we're gonna bring it in with Osiris. We're gonna bring it in with Asar, Wusir, however you know him, however you've been keeping him alive in your mind. That's what we bringing it in on. That's what we bringing it in on. We bringing it in on the love vibe, right? We bringing it in on the love vibe. In fact, that's one of the things I talk about in the new book, right? One of the things I talk about in the new book is how since I was a kid, and when I say since I was a kid, I mean, I really was groomed to do what I do now. Like groomed from my father to uncles to older cousins to like, there was never a time period where I wasn't being filled with, you know, conspiracy this and Israelite and Kemetic this and that, and just flooded with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And in all my years, respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Who knows what's out there? It's an infinite sea. And I don't claim to have heard it all or know it all, but in all my years, I have never really heard anybody talk about the love story of Osiris and Isis, of Asar and Osset, right? I've never heard that love story really told, you know, and maybe it's because of the circles that everybody always wants to approach it from a scientific level. But one of the things that we talk about is the fact that that is a love story. And we talk about the concept of love. We talk about Heka or Heka, which is probably closer to the pronunciation, Heka, right? Ka, the soul, Heka, right? Words of power or words from the soul. That's a love story, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about today's world. Think about today's situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a love story. Like, her husband was murdered gruesomely, and she went looking for his body parts to put him back together again. That's crazy. Yo, that's crazy. That's a different type of love right there. That's a different type of love. She went and found his parts and put him back together again to make a copy of him. That's wild. And that's really the most powerful. That's really the most powerful magic. That's really the most powerful magic that they that there is, from at least from that ancient standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when you think about the gods, the netchers, they're always presented as lovers, right? Whether you have brother and sister or husband and wife. And sometimes they will tell a story where the brother and sister is also husband and wife. And that's confusing to people that don't really understand what the concept is. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so we talk about that. We talk about that other angle. We talk about that other angle to the story in the new book. So it's going to be exciting. That's going to be an exciting book when it finally hits. You know what I'm saying? When it finally hits, I'm hoping to hit tomorrow. If not, but when that book finally drops, it's going to be fun to just have those conversations and open up those doors, even though we've already opened those doors. That's why I was trying to get through as much as possible. The foundation in the beginning was the wave, and some of the music and some of those things associated to just lay that framework. I think we planted our flag in the soil really well. You know what I'm saying? With, the debates and all that. Maybe I might have to act a fool again and raise some more commotion, you know what I'm saying, to really get the comprehension level up. But I think we made, got some awareness. I think it's out there. So when the new joint drop, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. But according to our calendar, this is the inspiration calendar and star chart. If you don't have this book, go get this book. If you've never seen this book, shame on me, because this is not a new book. This book came out at the actual New Year. This book came out during the actual New Year, right? And our New Year is not, our New Year is not the April 1st, right? Our New Year starts with Sirius, right? We track our calendar from Sirius, right? So you have a full star chart. This is a full star chart, right? But we respect I respect the fiscal New Year, right? I respect nature's New Year, right? Which is March 31st, April 1st, right? But yeah, according to our tradition, we're supposed to go into the codex. We're supposed to go into the codex, page 325, and deal with the Winnenefer mythos. So I said to myself, I could go live throughout the day. We're supposed to be on our Inky-a-thon. But then I said to myself, if I go live throughout the day, what's going to happen to the family at midnight? What's going to happen to the family at midnight? Right? We don't want nobody floating around. Yeah, we don't want nobody floating around awake. You know what I'm saying? Wanting to get high. You know what I'm saying? Wanting to get high and you by yourself. So because you can't get high the right way, right? With the family, through study, right? Because we can't unlock the information. Now you should have the books. So you should be able to create that dopamine flow on your own at any moment, right? You should have a library full of books and you should be ready to just, But I get it. It's different when we together. It's different when we together. So I said we're gonna make sure we go live in the moment. Right? We're gonna go live in the moment. All right, so page 325 in the codex. This is exactly when that happened. This is exactly no. The rough actually this is the time. I believe it is. The rough ash law dropped for New Year's last year. And then right after that was the trigonometry book. And then after that, the Legend of Wuxia. Right? So even before the calendar dropped, it was already our unspoken ritual. Right? It's just a matter of now, like it's written, so that way we have a written record of what it is that we do throughout the year. You know what I'm saying? But absolutely, that's definitely what happened. Anyway, glad you brought that up. All right, understand this. The heart is not a pump alone. It is a field generator. And the field it generates moves not only blood, but lymph. Moves not only through vessels, but through fascia. At the core of this generator dwell the cardiac melanocytes. The 12 are not passive pigments. These are biological. Now, obviously, in the codex, there's a lot of poetic license. In the codex, there's a lot of poetic license, right? But what I wanted to bring your attention to, and hopefully it begins to start making more sense. Because I told y'all, after we do a deep dive, a good deep dive, even though it's still a lot to go through, a lot to learn, a lot more to do, once we get grounded in these conversations, oh, it's already up here. Once we get grounded in these conversations about the magnetic field, right? And the electric field, once we get grounded in these conversations, right? A lot of other stuff, when we go back into it, it's going to make more sense. It's going to hit different. Like, for instance, if we go all the way back to the electrician manuals, right? I think it's inside this book. I can't even get these books out of here. They're so tightly packed in. There you go. Okay, hold on. I think it's in this little biochemistry book. No, is it in this book? No. Y'all know how this go already. Y'all already know how this go. It wouldn't be right if I knew where the book was. It just wouldn't be right if I knew where the book was. I believe it is the photochemistry book, though. I think it's the photochemistry book. And in the photochemistry book, I thought it might have been the biochemistry book, but it's probably the photochemistry book. We talk about all of the different wavelengths of light that affect different vitamins, right? Different vitamins, how they're impacted, right? And which wavelengths and blah, blah, blah. We go in because I feel like that is important to the concept. And now that we're starting to understand this concept of light at another level and waves at another level, a lot of these things that we've been discussing will start to hit different. It'll start to hit different, right? Anyway, every time the heart beats, it sends out not only mechanical waves, but electromagnetic waves, a coherent pulse through the entire body. The pulse is received and conducted by two great mediums, the fascia and the lymphatic system, right? Both very important. Both have not been qualified in terms of mainstream health information yet, right? Both have not really been elaborated on, elucidated on, articulated. So there's still a lot of the body yet to be pioneered and discussed. Now, think of your fascia or connective tissue like this, right? Like scaffolding, right? Your lymphatic system is woven throughout this. Your lymphatic system is woven throughout your connective tissue. Now, your connective tissue is piezoelectric tissue. Piezo. Your connective tissue is piezoelectric. So when you move your body, when you exercise, one of the major benefits that's never discussed is the fact that your connective tissue squeezes, contracts, pumps the lymphatic system, and you'll hear people say it, like you exercise to move your lymphatic system, but they don't really get into the specifics. It is a completely electrical system. It is a completely electrical system. Very, very complex. Even each node in your lymphatic system is highly electric and very, very complex to be able to filter, electrical activity and send out information. Like it's a very complex. So the fascia runs this entire lymphatic network, which is at least twice the size as your circulatory system. In fact, your circulatory system can be thought of as the heart of your lymphatic system. There she go. Yeah. I thought you were asleep. I know Paul and Kyle and they sleep probably. Right? Ooh, you know what we need to do? I know exactly what we need to do. Because it says that we're supposed to do it in the star chart anyway. it says that we're supposed to do it in the star chart. The star chart says we're supposed to go through pages. We're supposed to read from the codex, and we're supposed to go into the journal. Into the journal. Now, it's two things that's important in this: the journal, but also we go deeper into the mystery of Osiris in this book, right? So if you don't have this book, this is important, right? In this book, we actually have, besides the journal, we have a white paper that we did, maybe more than one. Okay, you know, we got drafts. We got drafts. Yeah, we got a few different. Okay, so if you go to page 152, right? If you don't have this book, just slap yourself across the face. Just kidding, right? If you do have it, though, go to page 152. So in this book is where we actually started to lay the groundwork and talk about fixed principle and higher wattage in terms of bioelectricity in the body, right? Yeah, this is where we started to get into that. Shout out to the people on Twitter, right? Shout out to the people on Twitter. Shout out to everybody that's not drunk. I'm not gonna say sober. I'm gonna just say shout out to the people that are not inebriated. I'm not mad at you if you are, though. I'm not mad at you if you are, but I just want to send an extra shout out to the people who do not indulge in alcoholic beverage. All right, so we talk about the wattage in detail. And then we go to page 164. Right? When we get to page 164, we start developing a concept, right? And this is one of our core precepts. So I want to kind of get back to this in terms of what we're doing, what we're supposed to be doing, right? So our star chart tells us that during this part of the season, we should be going into the Winnenefer mythos, right? So if you have your codex, if you don't have your codex, I'll just show you, right? The Winnenefer mythos, right? That's page 325, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to take that a step further, and we're going to go into some other parts of the journal, because it actually says, the star chart says 152 to 193. 152 to 193. So we're going to start the conversation on page 164. We're going to jump around, right? Modern oncology, right? So page 164 starts with cancer is a disease of fermentation. Now, before I even go any further, this is before This is before we dropped this book. This is before we dropped the Medicine book. Right? This is before we dropped the Medicine book. Right? In the Medicine book, we got a lot deeper into the science associated with cellular respiration, Otto Warburg, Thomas Seyfried, and cancer, right? But that being said, page 164, cancer is a disease of fermentation. Modern oncology now admits most tumors prefer fermentation to oxygen. Even in the presence of oxygen, they don't oxidize sugar. They ferment it like yeast, like mold. This is called the Warburg effect. Cancer cells refuse to use the mitochondria, instead guzzling glucose and glutamine, turning it into lactate and waste. Glutaminolysis, the cancer cell's second gas tank. When sugar is low, cancer switches to glutamine, breaking it down into ammonia and energy without the mitochondria. Translation: cancer cells are anti-electric. They're undead, fermenting, rotting, surviving, and not thriving. Black muscle. Black muscle. Black people have a higher amount of type 2B fast twitch muscle, right? This is important, right? Because you have three major types of muscle, right? You have your slow twitch muscle, then you have type 2A, and then you have type 2B. Type 2B fast twitch muscle prefers this same type of energy, right? Prefers this same type of energy. And so early on, I had noticed when going through trying to find another reason besides missing genes for the cancer statistics, right? Because one of the anomalies is Black people in vitamin D. And then even outside of vitamin D, we still have these cancer issues, higher cancer rates. So that's like a it should be something that's on everybody's lips, but it's not, and it's nobody else's problem to figure out but ours, right? So once I had got into Thomas Seyfried's research and saw all his references to Otto Warburg and started putting together this other respiratory process associated with, or other energy process associated with cancer. And this is the reason why cancer is associated with diabetes, right? It was just like when I figured out that your lower body is the primary area you need to work out in order to increase how much sugar your body's metabolizing, right? Because you got your glutes, your quads, you got huge muscles in the lower half of your body that, because we're trained to sit all day, we cut the blood flow to. It was very similar to that. Right? Very similar to that when I said, oh, this is something that's not explored. This is not explored right here. We have a higher amount of type 2B fast twitch muscle. Now, muscle tissue can you can develop muscle tissue, but for the most part, people that are sedentary, you just have what you were born with, and then however you care for that is how you care for that. But there is no conversation surrounding types of muscle tissue distribution and then everyday life, right? There's no conversation surrounding that. And I don't mean to jump like book to book to book on you guys, but this is a part of the reason why and we just Osirising it up tonight, right? If you don't have this book, you need to go get this from Amazon, right? But this is part of the reason that one of the main pieces of information in this book has a lot of different things, but back here on page 490, I had to put this in the book so we would have it forever, right? This was my personal big FU to everybody. Well, not to everybody, but just to all of the people over the years that doubted what it was that we were doing and how we were changing people's lives and people's getting healed and people was improving this and that and whatever. Like, we didn't have any journals to validate what we were doing for the better part of, 15 years or so. We didn't have any journals to say, oh yeah, this is, no. What he's saying? Because Otto Warburg, Thomas Eve, they wasn't saying what I was saying. Some of the things they were saying were things that I was saying, but they wasn't saying what I was saying. Until this article came out, and landmark article, you know what I'm saying? Obviously they was late, you know what I'm saying? Your boy, the doctor with the gold teeth was decades ahead of them, but still very appreciative nonetheless when this article dropped on mitochondria phenotype as a driver of the racial dichotomy in obesity and insulin resistance. Just the title alone was like, when you hear that song, like the gods was singing, the angels was singing. I was like, I needed it. You knew I needed that, so you sent me. Okay, got it. Put it in my Batman 2 belt. Batman has everything that he could ever imagine in his right butt cheek. I don't know if you ever used to watch the old Batman, but Batman could pull a car from right here. A whole bus, a truck, anything, a bazooka, anything. He already got it right here. It just comes, just bam. So now when you get this book, you have that loaded. You know what I'm saying? You have that loaded. And that's something that you always have to go back to time and read again, right? That's why in our star chart, right, we have particular studies associated with particular times of the year, particular star alignments. You need to shift your mind for a second into a certain space. For goat season, you got to shift your mind to a certain space for goat season. You know what I'm saying? And just the title alone is crazy because people don't know that they have a mitochondria phenotype. Like, they don't even know that mitochondria phenotype exists. Just the first two words. We didn't get to the abstract, nothing. The first two words of the title was crazy. Mitochondria phenotype. Woo! That's a bar right there. Like, woo! I was like, oh my goodness. The Netchers, the Elohim, Buddha, Allah, everybody. Good looking out. That was, you sent that down. You sent that down for me. Right? The abstract gets in. African Americans are disproportionately burdened by metabolic diseases. While largely unexplored, between Caucasian and African American, differences in mitochondria bioenergetics may provide crucial insight to mechanisms for increased susceptibility to metabolic diseases. African Americans display lower total energy expenditure and resting metabolic rate compared to Caucasians, but paradoxically have a higher amount of skeletal muscle mass, suggestive of inherited energy efficiency differences between the two races. This is in the abstract. The article goes on for pages, and it lays out how the mitochondria actually works differently between Caucasian people and Black folks, right? And I had been laying this thing out for years, explaining to people, starting back with, I realized the need to start having this conversation back when India, I don't even know if y'all know who this lady is, but back in the day, she was popping. Her name was India Ari or Indiana Ari, something like that. I think it was India Ari. And she had a song, and she was posturing herself like a faith conscious person. You know what I'm saying? She was running around like Erykah Badu and all that, wearing weird outfits. And she had a song called I Am Not My Hair, I Am Not My Skin, I'm the Soul That Lives Within. And people was grabbing hold to that. I was like, yo, stop that. That is gobbledygook. That is Madame Blavatsky lyrics right there. Stop singing that. I said, that is chakra-induced Madame Blavatsky. Stop that. I am not my hair. I am not my skin. I'm the soul that lives within. I'm like, yo, y'all don't know what y'all saying with that. Relax. Stop singing these songs like you don't even know what you're saying. It's better off singing you got the Draco and the Kilo. At least you understand Draco and Kilo. You have no idea what she's telling you. So back then, I started like a whole campaign, especially because back then I was on the road a lot, city to city to city to city. So I started a whole campaign on what you could learn from the older Kemetic to the Greek way of doing things, because the Greek way of doing things is largely based on the Kemetic tradition. And in Greece, you know, which is Egypt, right? Egypt is Greece. Greece is Egypt. Kemet, different than Egypt, right? Kemet, separate from Egypt. But they kind of understood that relationship a lot better. And that's where we get the idea of complexion, right? And that's where you get the concept of the humor, right? So when we think of humor, we think of somebody having a pleasant, enjoyable personality trait, or somebody who knows what's funny or who can make you laugh. Like, sense of humor is a part of your personality. It's a part of your mindset. But humor originally just dealt with body fluids, right? The 4 humors or the 5 humors, your body fluids, or biles, you know what I'm saying? So I started having those conversations and kind of connecting the dots between, okay, well, you don't just have a darker pigment. It's not just a matter of eumelanin or pheomelanin. It's about all of the connecting systems, right? It's about all the connecting systems and how they differ. Why you have more bone density, less bone density, more muscle mass, less muscle mass, smaller lungs, larger lungs, and how those things translate to anabolic hormones, just the whole cascade, and all of that starts with mitochondria and how tight the pigments are on your electron transport chains. Not necessarily the pigments themselves, but how far they're spaced from one another. Everybody's not the same. There's a lot of differences in mitochondria. We forget in our mind that mitochondria is a separate animal. Not separate animal, that's crazy. But according to what we have postulated, and hasn't been proven differently, mitochondria were their own organisms. And at some point, they joined with the bacteria line that became our cells, right, and merged. But these are two symbiotic organisms that came together for whatever purpose, right? So this is why you have nuclear DNA, but then you also have, mitochondria, which has its own traceable DNA, has its own DNA separate. And so we forget that mitochondria is its own whole universe, right? It replicates by itself. It eats, it does its whole, it's like its own thing. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of differences and uniqueness to mitochondria, so how far the electrons are spaced gives you a window to how efficient the mitochondria are at doing what they do in terms of the electron transport chain, right? So the further they are from each other, the more free radicals are produced. The closer the pigments, the less free radicals are produced, right? So that's going to translate to a lot of other things like cellular turnover, senescent cells, collagen buildup, androgens, just a whole host of things that you wouldn't think about even associating together, right? So anyway, okay, first of all, we don't have AI songs, sir. We have songs by Kepra and the Beatles. Okay, we have Kepra and the Beatles that makes our music. Kepra and the Beatles makes our music. So Howard, you have to go listen to the music. You got to go to the playlist. This is where the music is. Here we go. There we go. Captain reposted the video. Hold on. This is where the music is at. And I love the fact that we always have somebody that's wondering where the music is. That's a beautiful thing. Right? So when you come to the YouTube page, right? When you come to the YouTube page, and shout out to HJ. Shout out to HJ. Because he helped me figure out he didn't help me figure out. He just complained. His complaint inspired me to go figure it out myself. So what I do is I put everything into playlists, and I put them in the playlist, and they're all unlisted. They're unlisted so that they don't block the classes. When you come to the page, you just see the classes. Because the songs come out so fast. There was a one time where you look at my page and it looked like it was nothing but songs. So the songs are unlisted, but the playlists are all public. So all you have to do is come here to the playlist and go into the playlist, and it's all in there, right? It's all in there. We even have a whole Jabari versus Inky soundtrack. Right? We got a whole Jabari versus Inky soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? But all of the music is there. All of the music is there. And the music, the playlists are always growing. Some of the playlists get flooded. You know, they hit 200 songs, and then we got to start making some new playlists. Because after 200 songs, YouTube will start hiding some of the videos. So I try to be mindful not to go over 200, but sometimes I do. Like the Jesus music playlist has over 200 songs still. So I got to bring that down. Okay, yeah, pretty good. So far, so good. I'm pretty, it looks like they're all well manicured except for that one. I got to bring that down. Right, yeah, it looks like they're well manicured. Yeah, we even got our holy.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God, the way.
I love Dr. Inky.
I work for God and the natural rules. It's my office, this my proof. Long. Inky, reverse cancer, diabetes, high pressure, whole world out the loose.
I love Dr. Inky.
Get money, man, get rich. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Yeah, get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Health is well. Bitter smiles, get money, get rich. Get money, get rich. Yeah. Inky giving sight to the blind, realignment. Healing the sick, it's time and divine assignment. I wrote more books than your doctor ever read. Send kids to college, all the words that I said. Sacrifice parties, turn down sexual offers. 200 books made my children authors. Scribe my legacy in pages. Left the club stages. Wisdom cage in paper, freedom's wages. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Health is well earned. Bitter smells, getting health is most. Get money, get rich, rich. Every seed I plant, a tree that bears fruit. Truth in my roots, proof in a pursuit. God gave me the pen, I turned ink into bread, wrote scriptures on.
Hold up, we getting special requests and all that. We getting special requests and all that.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God, the way was hard. Every step a symphony, timelines infinity. The way we raise injury, I'm the divine epiphany. In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God.
Discover the power of plant genetics and NRF2. These compounds can transform your health.
Oh, you know what it is? You can't find it because the rough draft don't exist anymore. The rough draft don't exist no more. I changed the name of it. That's probably why you can't find it. That's probably why you can't find it. I changed the name of it.
I see a spirit in your eye. No lies, no disguise. Your touch sends shivers down my spine. I'm caught, I'm locked, I'm lost in time. Sparks jumping off your skin. This is where it all began. Your aura's electric, your pull magnetic. I'm drawn, I'm gone. I love you like a proton. Love's an electron. Pull to you like planets to the sun. And This is cosmic, this is real. You're the force I can't conceal. I love you like a proton. Love's an electron. Your voice, it tickles my puzzle. No tricks.
You failed the test.
Red light, cold sweat on your chest. You failed the lie detector. Your aura's electric, your fluid magnetic, we wavy. Other platform, follow that norm. Hater boy, 40 years like nature boy. Biblical, 40 years like nature boy. Don't play with the nature. A young fairy electric, put his mind on the stretcher, I bet you. Think twice if you follow polite. Blink twice if you seeing that height. Third eye, get him scared of the sight. I don't chase, I just bend me the light. Quantum tunneling through.
You failed the test.
Red light, cold sweat on.
Yep. The new book is, well, I don't know if the new book is out, but it's en route. It's en route. Two new books, right? Two new books. We got Black's Anatomy for Children, book number 5. Book number 5 is out. That's crazy. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun, right? That's gonna be fun. And then, like I said earlier, we have the quantum relationship, social technology book that's coming out, the Aura and Vibe book, right? Make America Love Again. So that book is going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of good, crazy discussion. So yeah. You know what's funny? I would love for you to do that. Definitely do that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's here somewhere in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? And if I was still moving around in the city like I was before the pandemic, you know what I'm saying? I would have probably already tapped in with him. So yeah, definitely make the plug. I mean, if you got some sort of connection with him, are you on the morning show or you just call in or but yeah, do your thing. Go crazy. Yeah, definitely go crazy. You have an essay on the second book. So you have an essay on what exactly? You have an essay on what? Break that down. You can't just throw that out there and then run away from that. What you got an essay on? You got to break that down. Yeah, you got to break that down.
I love Dr. Inky.
Oh wow, it went right to that.
In the beginning was music. Music was God. Music was God. Music is God. In the beginning was music.
I love love you, Dr. Inky.
In the beginning was music. Music was God. Music was God. Music is God. In the beginning was music. Music was God. Music was God. Yeah. Music is God. Yeah. Electric wave, hum of the Christ body. Organ pipes cry like a preacher's hobby. Magnetic pull, pulling the moon sloppy. Sound wave bending, spirit whisper softly between the bass lines and heaven's call. Man's the conductor, I'm juggling it all. Hands on the fate of destiny in the hall. Earth below trembling, skies start to fall. Man moves the melody, heavy with the weight. Echoes of eternity, shaping his fate. Oh, hey. In the beginning was music. Really was God. Really was God. Really was God.
Yeah, now that whole playlist is tough. But back to the work. See how music is contagious though? We just somebody asked, where's the playlist? And then we went down a whole rabbit hole. Right? But yeah, we had a few combos. We definitely had I gotta find some of them old videos. But you know what? No, I don't. I gotta leave them videos where they at. Those are just good memories. Right? Some of them anyway. All right, so hold on. Let's go back to this. We was in the Poor Abs Journal, Mystery of Osiris book. This is the book that our star chart tells us we're supposed to study at this time of the year, right? So make sure you have your star chart and make sure you have this book, right? On page 164, we have a white paper draft, right? Cancer is a disease of fermentation, right? And we kind of read through it already, right? Glutaminolysis, right? Type 2B fast twitch muscle. And then when we got to higher proportion of type 2B muscle fibers, I pulled out the other book. We went into the article, right? Now, going back here, glutaminolysis, right? The secret weapon of tumors. Glutamine isn't just a fuel. It's a precursor to nucleotides, antioxidants, and ammonia, right? Every cancer cell you have is a glutamine addict. It's abundant in processed foods, muscle waste and breakdown, meat cooked at high temperatures, which is where you get the HCA formations. And, we open up this entire doorway, right? And the reason why we open up this doorway, or at least how I got into this study, right? How I got into the study and why it is relative to the mythos of Winnenefer, and Winnenefer, right? The Church of Winnenefer Christ and the whole concept. Is because the same way earlier I said that I personally noticed that no matter how many Kemetic scholars we had, or we've listened to anyway, I have never heard anybody emphasize love in the story of Asar, Aset, Heru, and Set, right? I had never heard that as a sticking point or like a focal point. Love, love as the driving power of resurrection, right? But it's there and it's overlooked. And even the term Heka, which is associated in our world, the Western world, with magic, is words of power, but it's not magic like how the Western world would have you believe Heka meant magic, right? Because in Heka is Ka, the Ka. So you speak from the soul, and that's a matter of the heart, right? But in Kemet, there was really no word that meant love in the modern context of how we think of love, right? Love for us is like tied in with sex. And today's modern idea of sex is like porn residue. So every single TV show or movie you see is, you know, the people, they rip off each other's phone, you know, they clothes, and they wrestle around the room, and like that's how they do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the example of how you learn what it is to make love to a person. Is like breaking furniture, and like, you know, you throw everything off the table, and you know what I'm saying? Like that whole concept, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying back then, the concept was different. The concept was a little different. And so the love you see expressed from Osset for Asar goes even beyond his physical. How do you know it goes beyond his physical? Because the story is more about what she did for him when he was dead than when he was alive. That's powerful right there. That's powerful. So anyway, the same way I kind of noticed that in the dynamic of that story, I also noticed the catfish, right? So these are things that I noticed. These are things that I noticed personally that drove my research, that makes my research fundamentally different than a lot of other people. When it comes to the story of Osiris, right? I'll write them down. Right? I'll write them down. Right? First of all, you got the King of Light. You got the catfish. You got love. And then you have blood. Blood is fermented fruit sugar. These are the four things that stood out to me when learning about Osiris, Wusia, Asar, that I hadn't heard anybody else talking about. And with King of Light, let me just put, you know, /PH, right? Because when I first found out, okay, there's Osiris, right? Then you start doing a little more study. You find out like, oh, Osiris is the Greek version. That ain't even his real name, right? Then you get to Asar. You know, now somewhere around the time when you start finding out about Asar is where you start getting curious and wanting to know stuff for yourself. So you start like looking up, like, let me see his name. You know what I'm saying? So now you want to see it, right? And so then you go see the name, and there's multiple versions of Asar's name, right? But the basic two components, the main two components, are the throne and the eye, right? The throne in the eye. Sometimes you'll see it with like the God or the nature definitive. And then sometimes you'll see it with like a golden spiral type, like, but breaking the name down, I was like, wait a minute. pH, power of hydrogen, right? Because that I represents the sun and the throne represents power. I'm like, yo, that's interesting. But also the throne represents the kingship or the royalty, right? And then also light, right? That's where the original, like Heru kings come from. You know what I'm saying? The name is named after Heru, but remember whose son is Heru and how Heru came into being, right? But then also the catfish. The catfish was very important for me, right? The catfish is very important for me because the catfish represent the knowledge of bioelectricity in Kemet, right? And then obviously the love story drove remembrance, right? Remembering, right? And that right there is a play on words, right? To remember is to put something back together again, or your mind can recall something like, oh, I remember when you said this, or I remember being at this event or that event, right? So you have both aspects. And then Osiris's blood legendarily is fermented fruit sugar, which really kept me awake at night. That kept me awake at night. The fact that there's legends that say his blood was wine, right? That kept me awake at night. Because that right there is diabetes, in case y'all don't know. Fermented fruit sugar as blood, that's literally diabetes. You know what I'm saying? And for me, when I started discussing these concepts with people, and this is in the 90s, early 2000s, people's like, yo, you're bugging. And I'm saying to myself, well, how am I bugging if this is also the first place that documented diabetes? You could say I was bugging if they didn't have a concept of diabetes, but this is the first place that documented diabetes. You know what I'm saying? So we can't rule it out, right? We can't rule it out. So, but these concepts, right? So fermented fruit sugar, and the fermented fruit sugar thing, again, is one of the things that I always got pushed back on and had to argue about. And, again, when that article dropped, mitochondria phenotype as a driver of the racial dichotomy in obesity and insulin resistance. When that article dropped, that's one of those things where I felt like I was on a victory lap, right? Because that totally vindicated what at a certain point was just crazy thinking for most people, right? But I'm like, no, this is important because this is the link between diabetes and cancer. And there's nothing really tying Black people to diabetes, like, because that was a thing. I don't know how old y'all are or how long y'all been in the health space, right? But all through the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, doctors would tell you that diabetes, type 2 diabetes, if you're Black, they was telling you that type 2 diabetes in your blood. Not in your blood, but like you inherit that just by being a Black person. Yeah, you have a potential to get type 2 diabetes. Like that is a risk factor. Being Black is a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. And I'm like, well, which genes is that? Yeah, which genes is that? What gene is the diabetes gene? Right? I know type 1 diabetes and blah, blah, blah. That's which genes activates or lays dormant type 2 diabetes. Pull that out for me, right? And that didn't exist. So that was always like a heated, amongst professional health, health professionals. That was always a heated, because that was a sore spot, right? And so for me, I resolved that issue by saying, well, let's look at some unconventional spaces. We do have a larger amount of, type 2B muscle mass. And most people was like, so? I was like, yeah, well, that first of all, that muscle requires certain activity, right? And that is a trigger, right? Not only is that the fermented fruit sugar muscle, right? But that muscle's a trigger for autophagy and overall body health, right? Because once you get into glycogen depletion, that sends a message to the brain, a whole nother level type of message. That's one of the benefits you get from exercising that maybe, TikTok doesn't really go into, but glycogen depletion is important for your neurochemistry, your mental health, and your overall like sugar metabolism, your mitochondria health, right? So just having this as a part of the story, fermented fruit sugar as blood, dying after a big meal. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these little coincidences. I was like, this is a crazy story. You know what I'm saying? This is a crazy story with a wealth of knowledge to unpack from it. You know what I'm saying? And I spent years, doing that. So anyway, we kind of walked through some ideas, some concepts with white paper drafts, right? A white paper is basically a scientific article. A draft is, obviously before you done, you know what I'm saying? You ain't really finished with the painting yet. You just like, well, I could use it. But you know what? Go ahead. Let's go ahead and put that thing on display. It ain't really finished, but let's put that thing on display. You know what I'm saying? So on page 167, right? This white paper, this is the abstract, right? For Osiris and the origin of diabetes. This white paper explores a radical framework linking the ancient Egyptian myth of Osiris to the pathophysiology of modern metabolic disease, particularly type 2 diabetes and cancer. Drawing from physiology, anthropology, and metaphysics, we propose that Osiris's story symbolically encodes early awareness of fermentative degeneration, dismemberment, and metabolic collapse. Through this lens, amputation, insulin resistance, and high sugar in the blood become ritual echoes of an ancient breakdown in the human bioelectric order. The ancient blood sugar, Osiris wine in the glucose lineage. Pre-Greek origins of glucose. The Greek term glucose means sweet wine or fermented juice, but its semantic roots stretch far deeper into Kemet. Osiris, the perfect black, is said to have had wine in his veins, a poetic, mythic description of fermented fruit sugar flowing through his body. The modern word glucose, coined in 1838, literally descends etymologically from the Greek term glucose. So glucose is literally a term that came from that story, right? It came from that early story of Osiris having wine as blood. The Greeks were students of Kemet, And so they took that idea of wine, and their word for sweet wine is glucose. So now the word used throughout the rest of the world for blood sugar is glucose. But that's where that word comes from. That word comes from Kemet. It comes from the story of Asar. It comes from the legends surrounding him, right? Because there's one main story, but then there's a zillion other stories and versions of stories, right? And some of these things come from those peripheral stories, right? Not necessarily the main text, right? But anyway, Osiris was the proto-endocrine allegory, right? Dismembered, right? Similar to how we deal with amputation, right? Chopped up 14 parts, right? Which mirrors the body systems, right? Resurrection, right? All of these different things centers around these concepts and these things that we're dealing with today, right? Type 2 fast twitch muscle, right? Fermentation, right? So we reference Otto Warburg. And Otto Warburg, for the people that don't know, he won a Nobel Prize for his work early on in the 1900s, I believe, on cancer being a metabolic issue, cancer being about sugar metabolism, right? Cancer being about sugar metabolism. And then Thomas Seyfried followed that up. And everybody said Otto Warburg was crazy, and then said Thomas Seyfried was crazy. And, you know, I'm standing on those shoulders, but I'm like, hold on. I'm not really standing on these guys' shoulders, because respectfully, I didn't come to these conclusions that I have from these guys. I came to the conclusions that I have from studying Kemet. And then as I begin to speak about what I found and argue with people about what I found, I was directed to, yo, but have you ever heard of Otto Warburg? I was like, nah, who's that? Oh, you got to look him up because he's saying something like what you're saying. I'm like, no, he ain't saying nothing like what I'm saying. I got this from the, I got this from the GOAT himself, right? This ain't from Dr. Africa, Dr. Sabi. This ain't from Otto Warburg. This is from Kemet, right? They're like, nah, you got to go look up Otto Warburg and see what the research is that he won a Nobel Prize for this. This will help you, this will help you with your argument. You know what I'm saying? And so from there, I got into that and then fell in love with a book by Thomas Seyfried, which is usually in arm's distance. If I don't see it, I'm not going to look for it though. But I always try to show people that book. And when I bought the book, it was like about $40. It was like $50 maybe. And that book then went up 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 150, 100, 200. It's climbing. It's one of them. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so we go through the concepts, right, in this white paper draft, right? And we even break down, we walk through some of the different body systems, and we talk about reassembling the body through bioelectrical resurrection, right? Bioelectrical resurrection, which I think was a fundamental piece that everybody missed, right? That all us, you know what I'm saying? That's melanin versus diabetes research. Nobody was thinking, wait a minute, the catfish that swallowed Osiris's penis, is that the key to is that the most important part to the whole story? No, people thought that was the foolishness. They thought that was the most silly. That was the funniest. That was the stupidest. Like even comedic scholars, like, oh yeah, and the catfish, yeah, and the catfish swallows his penis. I'm like, do y'all know anything about that catfish? Like, how y'all just violate the catfish? Like, that's crazy. You don't just violate the catfish. Nah, these animals back in Kemet, they was doing something different with these animals. You gotta read these stories. So the catfish swallowing his penis was about bioelectricity being the centerpiece of life, because the penis, obviously, especially in Kemet, was the source of life, right? And now we know scientifically the semen, right? So the source of life, right, was bioelectricity. And that's what they were trying to tell in that story. And so yeah, we approach it from that direction. So if you don't have the book, you got to go get the book. Harwin is in the building. Yeah, we up. See, that's what I'm saying. We up. We up. We got to have our New Year's party. You know what I'm saying? We got to have our, you know what I'm saying? We ain't nobody watching the ball drop no more like that. Like ain't nobody watching that no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we got to do something. Anybody getting drunk and snorting cocaine, popping pills, doing like, none of that's cool in the community no more. Like, not to say that it was ever cool, but there were time periods where like that was a thing people planned for. Like, yo, I'm gonna get effed up on New Year's Eve. Unless you a kid, like nobody's thinking that anymore. Nobody plans to do that. Like, yo, I'm gonna get drunk, throw up. I'm gonna pass out on New Year's. I'll be lucky if I make it to the book. Nobody does that. That went out. That went out. Too many people had heart disease and died and DUIs and shot and whatever. Like, just too many different things happened in the last 15, 20 years. So yeah, we had to have our little fake New Year's shindig, right? So, but seriously, we walk through in detail, and this is important for the transition, right? Because people come through October, November, and December in bad shape, right? Which kind of taps into the video we did earlier about the new virus floating around, like people getting caught with their pants down. You know what I'm saying? People getting caught with their pants down. Super low vitamin D levels, no herbs floating around in their system. NRF2 system is not backed up. Like they just looking crazy out here. So when a little respiratory virus, like it's and post-pandemic, like we all came through pandemic good. Everybody that was with us, we came through good. You know what I'm saying? What we supposed to do ain't the same thing you've been doing. That's why we got a monthly detox ritual. Just stick on that. You good. Don't worry. Just stick with that. You NRF2 system. Listen, the NRF2 system gonna do what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it. Just relax. It's gonna take care of the oxidative stress. You're good. Now, if that's not how it's supposed to be, yo, Inky, I went on Amazon. I grabbed this. I don't know what to tell you. I ain't tell you to do that. Right? So, even outside of the fact that it's not maybe the real New Year, or some people feel like whatever they feel like for, January 1st, it's still a good time for a reset. It's still a good time to clean it up, right? Because the sun has started its motion back to dominance again, right? The sun has started its motion back to dominance. The sun is most dominant between the last months of June and the last months of July. That's when the sun gets to its most dominant peak. By the time August starts, the sun is now going back into decline, right? And the sun is at its weakest point around Christmas, right? The month of December is when the sun is at its weakest. And so when January starts, that's when the sun is starting up again. Brand new sun cycle, right? That's like the birthday for the sun, right? December 26, 27, 28, depending on how things drift, right? But that last week of December is the birthday of the sun, right? So the sun starts over as a little boy, right? That's how you encode it into a story. The sun starts over as a little boy. It reaches adulthood early summer, right? Which is when our star chart marks the new year. Our star chart marks the new year early summer, right? With the strength of the sun. So we start in strength. We don't start in weakness, right? But it's good for people to get on their grind because everybody done had maybe a little too much puffing, a little too much drinking. Maybe you done told yourself you wasn't eating red meat no more, and then you done went to Granny house. And I mean, listen, no excuses needed, right? But in here, in this very same book, right, the Poor Ab's Journal, right, Mystery of Osiris, we have the 40-day condensed research. And when I say the condensed research, it's condensed from 15 years maybe of people doing it, right? And all of the physical changes that happens throughout that process, right? And not just the physical changes, but the mental changes, the struggles, the blood work, everything. So you know what you're expected, what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how it's going to unfold as you move through that process yourself. Yeah. No, it's wild. Yo, they done watched this crazy movie and now they all hyped up. Mother, shut them down. Like, go to bed. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all is way too hyper. Everybody took naps. Everybody took naps to stay up for the ball to drop. Not the ball to drop because nobody watched it, but to do the countdown. We still do the countdown. We do countdowns like 3 times. We do the March 31st thing, and then we do the summertime thing. I'm always looking for any excuse to make new memories with my children. I'm ready to celebrate everything. Everything. Some people get conscious and they stop celebrating everything. I got conscious and started to celebrate everything. Yeah, so we done did Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, everything. We doing everything. Yeah, we looking for an excuse to feel good. We doing everything. Why not? Right?
You need that D, yeah. D. In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God, the way was hard. Every step a symphony, timelines infinity, the way we raise injury. I'm the divine epiphany.
I love Dr. Enki. Dr. Enki. I love Dr. Enki.
Yo. American Healer. Talk to him. Hey, and I'm about it. Not for profit. I'm a prophet. You know he got it. And I'm about it. not for profit. I'm a prophet, you know he got it. And I'm ballin', not for profit. I'm a prophet, you know he got it. And I'm ballin', not for profit. I'm a prophet, you know he got it. Hormone jump, blood flow rush, brain work sharp, they still cut hush. Muscle strength up, whole frame turn savage, sex magic in the cut, big fertility package. Heart disease back down, we block no plots, fibroid shrink, cancer rate drop, memory locked in cognition on 10, we healing in the world they pay. Amen. Pure knowledge in the vein, this a new aesthetic, flip food and medicine, bioenergetic. Plan genetics, said it 3 times, let it say it. Plan genetics, hit the source, that's the real weapon. Get the book in your cart, that's a mission. Amazon move quick, instant trans.
All right, so look, this is the main important things. And like I said, we show you how this goes in the book, right? These are the main things that you want to track, right? These are the main things you want to track. And this doesn't have anything to do with diabetes per se, right? If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, etc., then obviously you probably already are aware of these things. But just for longevity, just to reset, just to get on point, right? Obviously, you want to find out about your A1C level. You want to find out about your A1C level. And we show how that changes over the course of 40 days throughout the book, right? Fasting glucose levels. We show how that changes over the 40-day process in the book, right? CRP levels, right? We show how that changes, right? And then everybody's favorite, right? Everybody's favorite inflammation marker, right? We're going to put this over here. IL-6, right? IL-6 is important. Now, usually IL-6 is running around with TNF, tumor necrosis factor, and IL-1, right? Right? So those are the 3 ruffians when it comes to, right? That's your ego, ignorance, and superstition right there. That's the 3 ruffians, IL-6, IL-1, tumor necrosis factor, right? But you really want to make sure you at least try to get an idea of what's going on over here, right? Tumor necrosis factor, right? Testosterone level. Right? Testosterone levels. Cortisol levels. Right? Heart rate variability. Right? Actually, let me spread that out. Let's spread that out. I know somebody need to see that. Right? Somebody need to see that. Heart rate variability, right? Heart rate variability is what is actually happening in between the heartbeats, right? It is a very, very, very new science, and it is another piece of modern science that goes back to Kemet, right? It goes back to Kemet. So this is about information that's happening between your heartbeats. Very important for us to get into that understanding. I'm going to put, I have written in the book, breath hold, right? But I'm going to put VO2 max, right? These are things you want to monitor over the course of doing the program that's in this book and in some of the other books, right? The 40-day program, right? These are the things that make what we're doing or what we've done for people much more different and has staying power, right? Because we always was like, no. If you're going to do the 40-day program, you need to go order you a home kit and run you some tests, or go to the doctor and run you some tests. That way you have a baseline of what your hormones look like, your inflammation levels and all of those different things. So as you go through the 40 days, you can then taper, right? You can start to change what herbs you taking, what supplements you taking, what exercise, what foods you're eating. You can start to change what you're doing as your levels change, right? That'll give you insight into what's going on in your body, right? Insight. Fasting glucose level is very similar to VO2 max. Only thing is, VO2 max is about the breath. It's about oxygen, how well your body uses oxygen. Fasting glucose is how well your body is metabolizing sugar, right? So they're not similar like by substrate or anything like that, but just what it is, what it represents. It's a efficiency marker, right? This is sugar efficiency. This is oxygen efficiency, right? Both of them work for the same end, right? Because when you're breaking down glucose, right? When you're breaking down glucose in your body, you do that via how well your body uses oxygen. So glucose metabolism and oxygen metabolism go hand in hand. Your mitochondria can't function without oxygen. Oxygen has to be coupled to the carbon that you break down, because remember, glucose is a 6-carbon chain. So right off the bat, you need at least 12 atoms of oxygen for every 1 glucose that your body break down, right? Because you have to turn all 6 of those carbons into CO2. So that means you need 2 oxygens for each one of those carbons. So you always have to breathe in 12. You got at least 12 oxygens you need for each glucose that you break down, right? And that's not even the oxygen that has to go into the mitochondria. So you need those 12 just to recycle the carbon. And then you also need more oxygen on top of that to recycle the water so that you can recycle ATP, right? So oxygen determines your ability to use glucose efficiently. Right. Ain't nobody going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It gravitated, right? First you wanted to be there, and then it was like, nah, we're gonna be outside. Then it was like, nah, I'm gonna watch it in the house. And then after a while, it was like, I'll send out a few text messages at midnight. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send out a few text messages or something like. I'll hit everybody up on New Year's Day, the actual holiday. You know what I'm saying? When people making their pinto beans and they kale or whatever you got going on. You know what I'm saying? You're making your collard greens and your pinto, whatever you're doing. Right? That's what my mom told me. You're supposed to make greens and pinto beans. That's what you have on New Year's Day. Right? But so we go through and we have the daily monitoring, right? The daily monitoring, you want to be daily monitoring your weight, and more important than anything else, body fat percentage, right? Body fat percentage, right? So the way the journal works, you're checking these things once every week, right? And depending on budget and time and all that, maybe once every 2 weeks, or maybe you just do it at the beginning, right? Before you start your 40 days, and then you do it at the wrap up, right? Because you can always just run a whole nother 40 days back, right? But for maximum efficiency, you know, allowing time and money, right? You like to do these things maybe once a week, right? And you like to check body fat every day. Body fat you want to check every day or every other day, right? Body fat you want to check every day or every other day, because body fat is going to translate into a lot of other spaces. We ate 12 grapes. You trolling. But that's a nice little ritual though for Osiris, because grapes is his thing. Grapes is the Osiris thing. You know what I'm saying? So we got to think about it that way. Let me show y'all the book cover. Oh, I can't show y'all the book cover because this thing acting stupid. Let me see if I can put it on here. So now this is gonna be crazy though. Yeah, so that's dropping soon. That's coming soon to a theater near you. Yeah. Yeah, so that's now pumpkin soup is delicious. Pumpkin soup is delicious. That might be in my blood though. Yeah, that's delicious. That might be in my blood though. So I don't know, that might be in my blood. But yeah, so this is the soundtrack to that though. So that book is gonna have a whole soundtrack. This is the Make America Love Again. That's the Make America Love Again book. And this playlist is the soundtrack. So yeah.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God, the way was hard. Every step a symphony, time. You don't get it. I feel it is a feeling, chemistry appealing, sexual healing. Atoms don't touch, they feel each other, running in the dark, completing one another. The feeling is a feeling, Chemistry through the ceiling, electric stealing, Christ come, church revealing. I'm feeling the fear, invisible but real. I can't see or touch it, but it made me near the grace divine. This space, her mind, nothing like it in space or time.
When y'all see this video, right, that's Jehudi and Seshat, right? Jehudi and Seshat. And y'all might be like, well, why do y'all have the baboon version of Jehudi and the black woman version of Seshat? There is no other version of Seshat. Seshat that's how she is. There's no animal version or animal, like that's Seshat. She wears her animal association. So there is a couple of images that I have where she has on like the leopard dress, or she'll have on like the leopard outfit. That's her thing. She wears the leopard, right? So she actually represents, in Kemet, she represents another aspect of the mental, like your mind being divine, right? And a separation of humans and animals. Right. So that's something that she represents. You know what I'm saying? So when you see that, that's not like a random I didn't just throw that together like, oh, let's just grab a monkey and have him kiss a black, no, that's Jehudi and his wife Seshat as they were pictured in Kemet together. I just bring them into the modern, you know what I'm saying? I just bring them into the modern space, but that's as they were in Kemet. And I feel like, again, that's another love story. You know what I'm saying? That's a love story we don't tell. You know what I'm saying? So when you looking at the videos, I'm just telling y'all. So some people, they might have heard me explain it already, but for the people that don't know, I'm just explaining to y'all, when y'all see the videos, that's what that is. And so I have the story of Jehudi as the baboon and Seshat, his wife, right? And they're giving birth to a book, right? Like Jehudi and Seshat came together and gave birth to wisdom for the world. So that's the play between Jehudi and Seshat. And then you see the baby, but the baby is like a book. You know what I'm saying? It's because I have them giving birth to the world symbolically in the video. But they going through it like how, they going through it like how yeah, folks be going through it sometime. They be going through it sometime.
Self-created, self-created. I came from nothing. I came from nothing. Flipping energy. I'm really glad you answer me. You said to me, on my quest for the world to remember me. I'm here to make history. Living freely. Make me. Read about it, sympathy. Yeah, I came from nothing. That's the discussion.
And then right there, you see Shu. Shu is the best man, right? Shu is the best man. And then Kepra is Sashad father. He up there giving away the bride. You see what I'm saying? So we got Kepper right there, and we got Shu in the building. Yeah, we got the team. The team is in the building.
It's not about my feelings, it's about yours. I came from nothing. That's the discussion. Traveling ways, stand together, make a fan together, withstand the weather, clip and whatever. I came from nothing. That's the discussion. It's not about my feelings, it's about yours. Conversated, energy flipping. How you gon' move in this direction? Who play with your mind? Who play with your mind? Like then it feels alright. It's all about feels, having feelings. Those high voices, I feel it. Saying with your journey, the universe is instead with God. Yeah, success. Very business. Love brought the universe into existence. Circuits resistance. Spinning persistence. I came from disgusting part. It's not all the fears about you. I came from nothing. The dysfunctionally parts of a little game. Skin together, make a film together. We stand no weather, keep me whatever. Some new things. That's the discussion. It's not about my feelings, it's about together, make a family together, settle whatever, think about whatever. I came from nothing. I start this question. It's not about my it's about yours. That's the discussion. It's not about my feelings, it's discussion. It's not about my feelings is about you. I can feel your aura. I can hear your aura. I can see your aura. Sodom and Gomorrah. Heaven is before us. Reading the roof in the vibe. I'm at the score. Numbers in sky, yeah. Music in the air. Patting the floor dust. Calculate the odds from the way that you're caught, based on energy, all of the waves instead of me. No fake chakras, real pigment, real memory. Nerve conduction, shock when you walk by. You move truth, every footstep testifies. You walk, that's aura. You talk, that's aura. You work, that's aura. Every time energy transform, that's aura. Avoid ops off the muscle, cut the static, clear the tunnel, win and score on the board now. Make America love again, from the block to the border. Say, lately it's off safety, they underrate me. I can feel it, they wanna snake me, play me, but degrade me. See the BS in advance, in that dance like skate key. Woo, your Reyes type players, you can't stab me in the back worse than KT. What's up, brother? I was abandoned by my mother. A bounty on my head from my lover. Smell, don't need rice, go undercover. Keep my grace low, you mother. Experience speaking, experience teaching, oil and water, same reason with the gatekeeping. When energy transform and radiate, I smell it on you when you play a hate. Not just knowledge in the book, you can hear it when I talk, you can see it when I walk. Genuine article from New York, crunch time, clutch, shoot a spiritual sport. What the what did you thought? I was born for this, hopped the broom for this. Got married to the game, got a room for this. 2 other babies crazy when the camera's on. Babies in daycare, all them zone. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Take my herbs and get your aura up, otherwise you boring us. Read the room, what else can we say? Research solid in every way. Once in a lifetime discoveries every day. Challenging, you out and kid, I'm the most talented. Aura too loud, selling it way beyond what they beyond. Cash up, super chat, join us on the Patreon. 5, I can feel your aura. 5, I can hear your aura. 5, I can see your aura. Sodom and Gomorrah, the aura. Heaven is before. 5, I can feel your aura. 5, I can hear your aura. 5, I can see your aura. Sudden in the morning, aura. Heaven is before. Heaven is before us, heaven is before us. healing. Atoms don't touch, they feel each other. Running in the dark, completing one another. The field is a feeling, chemistry through the ceiling. Electron stealing, Christ come just revealing. I'm feeling the fear. Invisible but real, I can see or touch it, but it make me near. The grace divine, the space, her mind. Nothing like it in space or time. I can feel your vibe. I can hear your vibe. I ask a day or vibe. I can't hit share first from doors right now in the chorus. Read in the room, feeling the vibe when I glide through the door. Got my life in my hands, every move I be keeping a score. Energy thick in the air, energy moving like prayer, like war. Every time power transforms, that's where you carry them folklore. I can lick past off energy, see probability bend when we talk. See it in pigment and posture, and how you be moving, you walk. Real nerve connection, skin tone blessing us some plastic prop. You work, that's over, you clock in, clock out, still hot. Music is on in the air, hard on the tempo, I follow the beat. Silence be loud as an anthem when fake ones slipping off beat. Chakras, they cap it on timelines, I see through the glow they project. Meanwhile, your presence is pressure, your eye contact more than a flex. Dodging opponents on muscle, come from a fabric they never could wear. Winning, I'm changing the numbers, before they can guess how I got there. You talk, that's aura, you laugh, that's aura on 10. Every time energy switch, that's aura again and again. I feel your vibe, I can hear your vibe, I can see Sodom and Gomorrah. You failed the test. Red light, cold sweat on your chest. You failed the lie detector. Your aura's electric, your fluid magnetic, we wavy. Other platform, follow that norm. Hater boy, 40 years like nature boy, biblical. 40 years like nature boy, don't play with the nature. A young fairy legend, put his mind on the stretcher, I bet you. Think twice if you follow polite. Blink twice if you seeing that height. Third eye, get them scared of the sight. I don't chase, I just bend me the light. Quantum tunneling through night. Your gravity feels so right. Osiris is the king of light. Osiris is the king of light. Quantum tunneling through night. Your gravity feels so right. Osiris is the king of light. Osiris is the king of light. Close range, but I'm here from afar. Wormhole in the back of the car. Check code, every digit, every scar. Heart scan, ready to show where you are. Big stepper with the glimpse on the belt. Gold dust on the book on the shelf. If you knew what your silent really spelled.
Through the sand like a thought in disguise. The scarab spins truth where the cosmos collide. Energy whispers, it never says goodbye. The Beatles crawl, The Beatles rise.
Go to AmericanHealer.website now. Get the tools for health and inspiration the way God intended.
Sort of burst the chaos, yet the chaos rise. My name. Beatles, 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 over and over, spinning the world in the grip of their shoulders. Beatles, 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 under and over, rolling through time till the blackness is sober. The heat fades lower, the order begins. The stillness so perfect, it hums from within. The void sings softly, entropy takes a bow. In the shadow of silence, the scarab knows how. The second law is dancing, feeding life through decay. The third law holds the promise that the stillness will stay.
Go to AmericanHealer.website now. Get the tools for health and inspiration the way God intended.